Hey, how are you, crypto media friends? Welcome to the Overtime Show proper here on a Monday evening. Overtime here in Los Angeles. Going live, this one I could have not done live. Whoa, hey, look at that. All the alphas coming at you guys. Because I'm talking a bit something about more of a trend about wearables and digital NFT ownership in the metaverse, and where where we're looking at a fashion being a 2.7. This is kind of in my wheelhouse, right? Fashion being a 2.7 trillion dollar industry is looking to double, if not just through this Dolce and Gabbana sale alone. But certainly over the next 8 to 10 years, roughly, people believe that that industry will double in size due to the fact that the demand for wearables is quite high because what we've been given so far. I don't know if you guys saw part of I did a live stream. I guess I wasn't able to do the live stream of that event, but it was an event in Decentraland where everyone was kind of just in their white avatar. Like nobody quite knew what to wear or how to wear anything, honestly. But there were one, if not two, that were completely decked out. And so it was quite interesting, the difference between people who really understood the space and were deep into the space, and people who, like myself, I came as a blank avatar as well. And so, still learning how to dress in the metaverse, and we're going to learn quite soon by some of the high-end fashion retailers that are entering the space that came and are going to come after the Dolce and Gabbana sale. And so I'll go over MTA, which is the Metaverse Travel Agency. Sorry, I keep thinking of the MTA in New York, but the Metaverse Travel Agency just released something I think is on the right track. It's nowhere near the prices of Dolce and Gabbana, but I think the workmanship is quite good, and this is the trend that I want to talk about of finding value in high-end retail fashion in the metaverse. And so the Dolce and Gabbana sale, it was 9 pieces. It was 5, 1 menswear, 1 women's wear, and 3 crowns, I believe. One of them, which is the Doge crown, which was the crowning highest price winner. And so here's one of the dresses. The dress and the menswear took thousands of hours, of just handwork, crystals. This is really, really stunning stuff, and the owner of which will get to own that, as well as the digital version. To cap off the collection of 9, they added 4 completely digital versions of as well. And so it's funny though, they're interestingly adding, they're like, it cost 5.7 million ETH, and they're kind of saying, well, the value of which is now 6.1 million because ETH has gone up. So it's interesting how I think also in the NFT space with PFP projects, we're trying to understand the value, and with ETH going up as high as it has, it's interesting to get these offers on our NFTs and sort of seemingly diminishing value, and you're like, well, I paid 1 ETH for that, and now they're only offering me 0.5 in my offers, which are only 30% of what they actually are worth. But still, you feel offer me something that's up to the level of it, and back when you bought it, it probably was, certainly in my case. And so trying to understand that value, that was something that I've been trying to work through in my own head, and it's interesting that they automatically assume that here, that the wearable itself will retain and be a store of value, which I think is an interesting proposition, because clothing, for the most part, I think there's some great pieces that will, rise in value. But if you look at any secondhand store, then 99%, 98% will reduce in value, especially if you wear it, especially if you use it. So you take the tag off and it becomes much less valuable. And so the idea of it being a store of value is an interesting one. And so at this $5.7 million sale was, of course, Pranksy, who's just got so much money. They're just kind of making up ways of making money in the NFT space, which is, I think, fantastic, because they're experimenting in a very cool way in seed phrase. And so what I thought was also interesting was that RedDAO, a decentralized autonomous organization formed in the crypto community to invest in digital fashion, just a very specific mutual fund, right? I thought it's a very new. I checked out the Twitter. They're very new, and very few followers. But I threw a follow on there because that's a bold number to go and like one of your first purchases is like Dolce and Gabbana, nearly $1 million. I believe they're the ones who got the Doge crown. Let's look quickly though, as we review this project and its sale. And so I thought it was interesting that D&G has been kind of in the doghouse. There's a lot of ethics issues with the company, and I think that this kind of helps pull them out of the doghouse in a sense by creating the Collezioni Genesi, the Genesis collection, right? A nod to our space, and but it was the editor of Vogue Arabia, who was like, this is an idea that I have, and you can kind of see in the Twitter connections that they all have together that this is kind of how the deal came, probably virtually. They reached out to each other, and this group, UNXD, I had never heard of, and I think this is their only project. I don't know who's really behind this. It was interesting. They're part of the Polygon network, and it was just an interesting, oh, hey, they're in this space. Interesting. I try and keep tabs on who's in this space, but they popped up, and they created this 5 pieces, physical creations, designed and executed by Dolce and Gabbana. We're actually 2 dudes, 2 Italian dudes. And so you have the dress from the dream in gold and silver, and the glass suit, that's the menswear. And so just really intricately embellished crystals, taking thousands of hours to create. And then oddly, I thought it was interesting to do 2 gold-plated gem-covered crowns, similarly embellished, the lion and the Doge crown. And so, and then 4 other pieces sold digitally. And 1 more tiara. I think that's the one I was missing. So 3, looks like 3 men's jackets and the impossible tiara. And there's Stefano Gabbana and Domenico Dolce. And I love the fact that Stefano is wearing cargo shorts. This validates me in so many great ways. I got kids and I'm really busy, and so on the weekends I'm always wearing cargo shorts, and I feel like I'm a bit sort of daddish, Orange County dad wearing it. But hey, if he can pull it off, which looks like at a show, mind you, maybe I got a chance. So the collection, you can get some more detail here of the embroidery. It's really fantastic work, stunning work, that translated to just a huge auction. Mind you, this auction ran for well over a week and was placed in a very nice venue in which somebody who might be in the market for something like this would come by. And so 2 versions for the dress have been bought by successful bidders who received bespoke physical versions of the gown. Both fetched for more than $500,000. Here's the Impossible Tiara. The Impossible Tiara being that they wanted to include gems that aren't real, or obviously there's one that seems to be emanating light, and sort of bringing the fantasy into the wearable. And here's one of the men's suits. This is the glass men's suit, right? And you also get, by buying these, you get to go to shows, and there was some sort of accoutrement to the purchase. And this sold for over $1 million, the glass suit, because you get the it's really interestingly detailed, the colors. What I love about the coloration too is both of these are not too far off trend from what they put down in Fashion Week, and especially for Fashion 21 and early 22. It's these are the colors, and sort of the vibe is really on trend for what's out right now for the brand. And so UNXD, definitely I have to follow them now and see. This is not just a success. This is a record-breaking entree for a fashion house into the space. Here's the crowning achievement, the Doge Crown. Glass suit took in over 1 million. The Doge Crown, 423.5 ETH, or roughly 1.3 million, for this crown. That's a hell of a thing. So UNXD has also partnered with Polygon to launch a $10 million culture fund that aims to expand the use of NFTs in the fashion industry. So Polygon is very aggressive in general, and I think I appreciate that they are working with UNXD in this way to fund UNXD's push into digital wearables, and kind of embracing the fashion industry in this way, because I think it's clearly, if you're making headlines like this, it was well worth it. And so this is obviously the leopard isn't part of this particular line, but I mean, look at the this is laminated denim. You can see the way that the light hits it and everything, and the color usage again is just really on trend for what they were sending down the runway. This is probably fall winter 21 that they're showing right now, but for them to let the collection land at about the same time, I think was quite nice, because you don't have to spend $1 million to experience it, but I think certainly if you did digital versions of this, which I'm sure they're going to be doing in the future, this is something that you're going to wear. I'm going to switch back and forth between what we have today. This is what we have today at best. We have the sailor suit from Stranger Things, and maybe that limited edition fedora, the Travis Scott limited edition fedora, and it's just like a very you really have to be in the space to notice it, in a sense. And that's why I'm going to go over MTA in a bit here, because it really pushes the volume up, and which is needed in the space, because this is a space of fantasy. And here you can see some of the other pieces in the collection. This seems to be clearly be all digital here, and but still again on trend for, maybe that is the glass suit. And so these are the physical embodiments here on display in a gondola in Venice. Because what else are you going to do with $1 million outfit? But go on a gondola in Venice and risk getting it wet. So a really huge jump into the space from D&G. And it's such a splash that everyone's going to follow. Every house is going to follow, and I just think that they did this so well. D&G, again, kind of it's not on its own. It's not, it's just a really fantasy version of what they're sending down the runway. Almost taking sort of things that you might have to sort of get rid of because it's too fantastical, but allow that to exist somewhere physically and also in the metaverse, which is where I think it's going to be best served. So MTA launched over this weekend, the Metaverse Travel Agency. They look to bring seemingly some quality elements of wearables to the metaverse space, and the hope here, and I think the vision for them, is to take that into the multiple arenas. So you should be able to take this into Decentraland as well as Sandbox. Nobody wants to buy one thing for each, and that's almost why I'm scared to buy land in Decentraland, to be honest. I don't want to overpay for something that I'm going to be in BitCountry next year, or I'll be maybe it's Sandbox, and so or maybe it's something on the Cosmos network. And so right now we're looking for universality within the design, and so that has to take place at the design level, and also it has to have something that's I think has a statement to it. And so that's what's been lacking. I think there's a lot of wearables creators who are they're designing things and potentially have that element of drama to them, but the level of which has not. I haven't really seen anything quite like this yet. And I think that this was a nice example of looking at their first project, Meta Helmet, and allowing it to have these elements of fantasy and be a bit sort of outlandish. I do love that they have an LCD in the back, LCD in the helmet, the virtual helmet in the back that will allow you to show off an NFT so that you can. I feel like sometimes that's they didn't want to like ruin the branding by putting it on front, right? But it allows you to show almost like you got your shot, but it's the pass that gets you into the events, etc. So you don't have to bother with somehow quantifying how you're part of this event, or I don't know. I think there's just a nice way to show that you're part of the event and to connect your physical form with the NFT event that you're at. And so yeah, it was interesting. They were like, you don't want to reveal your identity, and so you need a helmet in the metaverse. So we're going to start with helmets. And the pre-reveal was super not exciting because you have this box and the reveal for me ended up with this guy. They try and make it fun by saying that the colors are rare, and I think that it's they try and add elements like that little red thing back there. The dot, it's like it's fairly rare within its structure, and I will say that it didn't get the traction that they had hoped for, which interestingly enough creates a limited collection. So they thought they were going to do like 10,000 of these, and I believe they only ended up doing 4,600-ish, high 600s, and as you can see, they kind of spread out the traits here, because you're looking at, typically you would look at 2%, and 3%. You're kind of adding these together in sum to create a rarity of like there's nothing more than 10% here, except the orange background. And but so you would think, wow, this is quite rare, but no, it's just that spread out. That's how well designed it is in terms of the traits, allowing you to come up with fairly creative combinations that are unique. And so the OpenSea reveal, like I don't know what it was about this brain thing. I don't even know if I saw the brain thing first, but I feel like I saw the brain one early on, and that was kind of the trigger for me. I was like, wow, that's interesting, and it's a bit grotesque, but like just the detail and the creativity that went into it, I was like, that's interesting to me. and that's kind of why I ended up trying to take a gamble on this mint that happened. They ended up doing it for over a week. They were doing a couple of bits of publicity, and mind you, sometimes publicity can be amazing. And we also learned this weekend that publicity can fold your entire project. There was a side note here. There was a sort of a project that was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do NFTs and you're gonna get like dividends and all these sort of things, and they were very heavy on the finance side. There was so much promise of the finance side that outlets began to be like, oh wow, this is the new big trend, and they covered them as the example, and they were immediately shut down after one day. So they believed that was one of those SEC kind of like, oh hey, that's what you're doing is completely a security, and the promises of which need to be regulated. And so it was a bit concerning. It was a bit that the regulation was that quick, but that's the thing, is like you can't thumb your nose in front of them and say you're going to bring all of these financial products into the NFT space without that type of regulation and need for regulation, honestly. These are things that are run by people in their early 20s who don't really have a sense of we'll say, I don't want to say don't have a sense of ethics, but certainly that's the backseat behind their desire to succeed in the space and personally. And so this is what a lot of my new movie's about. So it's just like, but in space, where we take that sort of that type of thing for granted. The ethics of what we're doing in space is really being taken for granted because we're just so excited about the idea of fulfilling a destiny in space that we're going to put a lot of things in the back seat. So MTA, they had a great, once they had the reveal, it was one of those where we talk a lot about this in the channel where, sometimes at that reveal stage, the value can, shoot up like with Onis, or like with sevens, it can be really a downer. You're like, oh, well, that wasn't great. I feel like, much like Galaxy Eggs, it was like, wow, this is fantastic. It sort of met expectations. Here, I think you exceed expectations, and that will drive value up a little higher, especially once you get the opportunity to use these in the wearable space. And because it's a limited edition collection now of about half of what they thought it was going to be, you have very few of these relatively in this space. And so the value of which we'll see. It's just gonna be a play. I'm into the project more to see how MTA progresses, and what the next collection is going to look like. Because I look at this and you can see it in this this series, but like the brain one, when you get an update or sort of an up close look, you can zoom in on it, and you can see a lot of the detail. And they're very sharp renderings. These things, very high definition, very very sharp. And so in a Decentraland, I went over today sort of the Cosmos ecosystem potential for the metaverse by leveraging use of the blockchain, the processing power on top of Unreal Engine, which is a land environment, game, a lot of things, system that will allow you to create something that's very photoreal. And so I was like, I could see something like this looking beautiful. Look at the way that it's reflecting the light. These things and these renderings have properties that within the metaverse are going to be very integrating. And so look at that little Trojan guy. That's pretty cool. So I thought that they just did a great job with it. I want to see more. And that's kind of the play there in a sense. There isn't much, like, hey, we're going to flip this tomorrow. But, that's the thing. There's other channels for that. And that's why I do this channel. Because I'm looking at value long term, and I'm looking at those ideas of how you can make me rich. But by hopefully holding, because we're looking for value here that's a bit more longer term. I've just been so inundated with people trying to flip and like pump you for like, oh yeah, hey, do this, this is the next big thing, Kaiju Kings, and like, oh cool, this is the next Kongs, and this is the next blah blah blah, this is the next Bored Apes, this is the next whatever. Those projects are those for a reason. Everyone's trying to follow, and you're trying to FOMO into things, and it's getting the little pumps, and you're getting those little pumps if you're following, if you're doing it, if you're doing the minting, and you're getting those little pumps, if you're able to get into the mints these days, and you're tracking, you're able to get those little pumps, and more and more channels like these come out, and just there's a ton now, I feel. So thank you for being here with me, and please like, subscribe, and I'll continue to try and deliver for you guys something that's a bit more founded in a vision for creators, again, for fashion, for music. Oh my gosh, music! I can't wait to get more into music projects with you guys. It's just so exciting. Musicians are going to have this incredible new platform in the metaverse and in the NFT space that is going to give us such a stronger connection to the artist, and hopefully that gives us better artists, or rewards better artists, as opposed to people who are sort of fed to us by the marketing machines of the centralized organizations. And so thank you again for being here. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, because most of these are, I do these because, live, and I'm standing here and I'm like walking around and I'm moving, because this stuff is of the moment, and it's like today, if you didn't watch this morning's and you're checking it out now, you're gonna be pissed at me because you have missed out on the mint. I may have missed out on the mint. It was a crazy mint. I think everybody got excited and we all jumped on there and we all minted on the same like 20-second interval that was the mint, and it crashed. It crashed their website, and that's the tough part. That's why minting by contract, as I mentioned in the some of the videos before this are really important with mints, because the website crashed. Servers can't handle that. Probably like 2, 3, 5,000 people in the same 20-second were like mint, and that doesn't seem like an easy process, clearly. And we've seen it before, and we've seen it many times. It was an interesting test again for the Cosmos ecosystem, but I think it was more having to do with the servers at the interface level with the website. They're just not ready for that, and certainly that one wasn't connected already, I believe, to the Akash network that allows for a massive ramping up of compute. So please like, subscribe, hit and comment down below if you're into this space as well, if you love wearables, things that you've collected in terms of things to wear. Vogu has been dropping all these great wearables on us, a voxel helmet, jackets. I've gotten like some Genesis leggings from Bit Country. Like, I don't know, I got a helmet, and I got leggings from so at least I have some stuff to cover my blank avatar when I'm going out to these spaces, and I think it'll just evolve from there into what Animatus is about to deliver. They're about to deliver hover cars. I don't think that those are going to be accessible into the metaverse, but I think certainly they might have applications within their gaming universe, as well as probably a sandboxy type of thing. But is it universal? Don't know yet. And Vogu's dropping a mutt tomorrow. I believe, tomorrow you're gonna be able to get a mutt if you own a Vogu, which is just a companion. And certainly there's gonna be a nice bump in Vogu and interest in Vogu from that drop, because they look pretty cool. So maybe I'll try and cover those when they come out. Thanks, guys.